Hi and welcome to another quick Bitcoin update. Firstly, before I carry on, I need to make a correction to my last video. I need to make an apology as well for the same offense. The last time I made a video, we were trading around this point here. We had just made our second testing of this trend line, and this is where I made the mistake. I kept referring to this line as a support line while we were trading underneath it. It was not a support line at that stage. It was a resistance level. That line, while we are trading underneath it, is not a support level. It becomes a resistance level from underneath, as we were testing it from the top, and it was resisting the tests that Bitcoin was making. Okay, now that that's out of the way, it has been, this is a 1 hour chart, so it has been a good number of hours. In other words, a good few days since I made that video. And as you can see, not too long after I made that video, I started to notice a small pennant forming, and I knew at some point pretty soon Bitcoin was going to break out of that pennant in whichever direction, up or down. I didn't know at the time when I noticed this. So I plotted it and I waited. And what happened was we had a sudden drop which broke out of the triangle very quickly, and almost as quickly as it broke out of it, it broke back up and straight through it. Now, this sudden reversal is a very good sign that, in my opinion, that sudden drop was somebody quickly dropping the price so they could buy in quickly, and then made a huge buy and have brought us right back in to the original triangle or pennant that I had plotted. Now, as you can see, we went up and we nearly broke through the 200-day moving average at the same time. But we made a little bit of a reversal, came down below the trend line, and then traded up and down, basically following the trend line for quite a while. But I knew there was also another, call it a pennant forming, but very small, literally in hours. I don't think it was even a 24-hour one. But I knew, I was pretty sure at that stage that we were going to break out on the upside and go into this, back into this triangle that I had plotted originally, which we did. As you can see, we had a really nice run up, and we crossed the 200-day moving average, and then had a nice little sell-off in there, formed another triangle, very small, and broke out on the underside, and then almost broke up above the top of the triangle, which was a resistance level for them, and but then we passed the end of the triangle. So at that stage, theoretically you're starting a new formation or a new pattern, but it just carried on a really steady, nice upwards trend after that, which was you couldn't really plot it. I suppose if I enlarged it, I could plot a channel that it was trading in, and but that, I mean, that we're talking just hours now, maybe 10 hours or so. And then, as you can see, we had this really nice run up, and in fact we had a little sell-off and then another run up, which actually broke the top of the triangle. Now, as you can see, we came back down, and we've traded pretty much sideways for a while. We've tested that top of that triangle, which is now a resistance level, not a support level. It became the resistance level for the price, and now we have had a little bit of a sell-off, and just a few hours ago another sell-off and a little recovery. Now, where would this go from here? Like I said, I was waiting for it to break the 200-day average. We are now trading nicely above the 200-day average, and in my opinion, we shouldn't drop below it again, not right now anyway. And if you take a look, today is the 5th of November. That is the last candle we've just started there, the 5th of November. If I go to the point of this triangle, it is the 9th of November. So we have got a maximum, in my opinion, a maximum of 4 days for Bitcoin to really make up its mind which way we are going. I don't think once this triangle, or rather once we pass the end of this triangle, which is the 9th, And I don't think it's going to take that long because, there's not much room for movement yet. The longer it takes, the later or rather the closer we get to the 9th, for Bitcoin to actually make up its mind, in other words, and decide which way it's going. The longer that takes, the closer we get to the 9th for that to happen, the more extreme the change is going to be, in my opinion. So let's have a look at the stochastics RSI and the MACD. Let's see if we can sort of predict where this is going in the near future. For that, I'm going to change to let's have a look at the 1 day chart, the 1 hour chart for now. In the immediate future, and this is not over days, this is, as I say, a 1 hour chart. It's probably good for maybe the next 10 hours or so, just to give us a average of where this is going in the next few hours. As you can see, the stochastics RSI has, I don't know if you can see that, but the blue line, the trend line, has actually turned upwards and crossed above its moving average and is heading back up again. It is currently in the oversold area and is now starting to move up. I don't think it's going to take too long to get there. The MACD is currently still on a downward trend, and if I look at this little graph at the bottom here, it looks like it has peaked and is probably going to be making the turn to head back up again. As soon as the blue line, the trend line, crosses back over and above its own moving average, I think then we are going to see another run and probably above this resistance level, which is a resistance level at the moment. Once we are trading above that and we actually stay above it for any reasonable length of time, I think we are probably going to maybe come down and test it once or twice. And if we do not come back into this triangle, or depending on where that happens, it might even be after the triangle, I think we are probably going to head back up and keep going up. Now let's take a look at the 1 day chart to get a little bit of a longer forecast, a forecast that will take us a little bit further out. Let me just stretch this out a little bit and decrease the size. Okay, I'm not too worried about the chart at the moment. As you can see, we are just underneath the top of that triangle, which is now the resistance level. But as you can see on a 1 day chart, the stochastics RSI is sort of peaking out at the moment at the top in an overbought area. So we might be in for, in the longer run, a bit of a sell-off. But the MACD has, if you can just see it there, the trend line is just trading slightly above the moving average for the MACD. So it is slightly positive. I tend to look at, for an upward movement, I tend to look at the MACD, and for a downward movement, I tend to look at the stochastics RSI. So as you can see, we have had we have had a little bit of a sell-off, which can be attributed to this the stochastics RSI flattening out and sort of making a turn. I have a feeling that we might turn down very slightly and then turn back up again. I don't think it's going to go very far down. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. I think we are, well, within 3 to 4 days now of Bitcoin finally making up its mind and doing something positive. And when I say positive, I don't mean an upward movement. It could be even a negative or rather a downward movement, but it's going to make a positive change, a change that we can definitely see out of the pattern that it has formed over the last, must be what, 9 months, 10 months, since March or wherever, February, March this year. So that's my take on Bitcoin for now. I remain extremely bullish about this. In fact, I just bought some Bitcoin, not a hell of a lot, but I think the Bitcoin I've bought now is probably the lowest. Bitcoin is not the lowest it's been, but it's the lowest it is going to be for a while. It might just dip within a few dollars of lower than what I just bought, but I don't think it's going to have any massive drops. I'm hoping so anyway. but I think there is potential for a really nice gain now in the next, call it 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, of possibly up to maybe 8,000, even up to $8,500, $9,000, at which point I think we will probably get a little bit of a sell-off. That's my take on it for now. So far, I haven't been doing too badly. I've called most of them, and I think this one is probably coming very soon. I will catch you later in the next video. Cheers.